Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Right, today we're off to a part of the world I know a lot of you are very interested in building, and that is the eastern seaboard, kind of New England, New Jersey, that broken up coastline. It's so beautiful, and today's map has got a lot of potential for a very high score. Which is a bit surprising, and you're expecting it's my first map here. It's not. It's their second map, but it is their first map since 2018. So 4 years without making a map, and this is the return. Does have a lack of experience in it, so please be kind in the comments. Please do. A creator who's changed their name a few times, and I'm going to have to come up with a name for them, as you'll see. But before we get into any of that, I've got a little task of the day for you. That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's map is Auburn Islands by... Well, they've previously been known as Lord Voldemort and also Le Doctor. So I'm going to take a combination of the two of those, Harry Potter and Doctor Who crossovers. They should start square. I'm going to call them Lord Torchwood. And if you think that's really clever of me, there's your terrain heights. If you think that's really clever, I'm not being clever. That's also a name they've gone by before as well. So they're going to be called Lord Torchwood today. Resources are strong. I don't think there's any argument with resources. So resources are strong. And if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, your fishing map looks like this. Yeah, I've no idea what that's supposed to read as. Outslot story, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, no DLC are required, and well, no requirements there at all, apart from there's a few links. So let's have a look at the links. First of all, the Sugar Maple Gold link, which is a lovely little pack from our old friend Mr. Maison. But there's also this autumn collection. Now, this autumn collection is a little bit lengthy, thrown together by Prez, who's of course much loved and adored, and does some great work. And they're thrown together at the autumn trees. So, and there's also a couple of extra bits in here, like decals and prop fix. But anyway, so I've subscribed to all of those. And there's a generic tree pack, which is apparently like evergreens, or I think they're described as a pack. But there's also the Miriam Bay Tree Collection linked in as well, which is by Mr. Maison. And so I've subscribed to all of these because I'm assuming they're all needed, correct? Sorry it's taken a while to actually get to the show, but these are all things that you're going to need, apparently, because they were linked. And then also we got Pidelmo's Bushes. You thought we were there, didn't you? But no, we got Pidelmo's Bushes. So I've subscribed to all of these, includes a few grasses and stuff as well. All of these are great assets, by the way. Every single one of them a great asset. Just maybe we don't need all of them, maybe. Anyway, so the map's got to look absolutely top knocker, isn't it? Has got to look absolutely top knocker with all of this. We'll also be using the autumn theme, which is automatically loads in, but it isn't listed. No, it is listed. No, it isn't listed. It isn't listed, but the photorealistic final by Reaper is, so there is that. Anyway, here's the list of the custom assets that are used. And if I scroll down a little, and we'll get scrolling down in a moment. But yes, this is the list that is required of everything you just saw. And these are the things that, having subscribed to everything, aren't actually loaded in and are missing. And no, I haven't reloaded the map to make sure they're going to reappear. So the map, as we're seeing it, isn't complete. The roads are a bit bumpy here, a little bit. The map isn't complete. We've got a whole bunch of things that I've subscribed to that I don't need, and there are a few things I do need that I haven't got. But other than that, everything's perfect. Yeah, the autumn theme, I can't remember. Sorry, I'm trying to remember now. This was this morning. I recorded all this, but it's either the autumn theme that is missing, or is there, or the photorealistic final by I'm sure that's the one that's there. It's the autumn theme that isn't listed. That's right, I'm remembering now. I'm wittering, but I'm remembering. Yes, so technically speaking, we wouldn't have the autumn theme either. Road gets very bumpy down here. I mean, very bumpy. A clump and a clump and a clump. Again, we're away from the centre of the map, so I guess it doesn't matter quite as much as if we're in towards the middle. But anyway, yes, Lord Voldemort, the Doctor, and various others is, yeah, we're going to have to roll with Lord Torchwood. I've no idea how that is meant to be, not a clue. I think they're just trying to put people off from reviewing their map by giving an unpronounceable name. Bless you for doing that. Anyway, down to the start square. Now, the start square intersection is a plopped vanilla cloverleaf, and looks like it's going to be all the way down there, doesn't it? And that's a perfectly lovely place to build. Except for it's not. It's actually over this side in these fields, and our regulars to the show will know that I'm a bit of a fan of having fields for zoning. It just makes a bit of sense to me. We'll have a look at the fields a bit later on, because I do have some talking points on the fields. But yeah, I'm a big fan of field buying. So where you buy the tile, and of course that's how you play the game. You have to buy the tile. But within the tile, if you have an area like a field or a clearing or something like that, just to buy that area, use that area to help shape the city. It helps to steer away, unless of course you want to play grid cities, in which case clear the lot, flatten it and do a grid, yeah? But being a European, I'm a big fan of using the terrain and the landscapes and the shapes of the forests and the coastlines and the mountains and all that to shape the city, and the slopes to help shape the roads and all of that. I love all of it. And of course, did a little mini series on it. Oh, hang on. Little flash of blue mantle down here for one split. I think it's one frame of blue mantle there. Hey ho. Yeah, I did a little mini series called Breaking the Grid. I won't link it in today. I've linked it in several times. I'll link it in tomorrow probably. Anyway, heading around here. Now, this being the Eastern Seaboard, we have rail. Oh yes, we have rail. And the rail is going to be as impressive as the highways. And if you were impressed by the highways, you're going to be impressed by the rail. And if you weren't impressed by the highways because your standards are so high that you cannot accept anything below absolute perfection, then you're going to be disappointed by the rail. It's as simple as that. Remember those days that we all struggled? We all struggled with the game. Yes. So please, always accept there's somebody that's at that point, or maybe a year beyond that point, that we were all at one point. It's simple. Just be nice, help encourage, come up with something I may not mention in the show. If you mention, it might help a creator. Maybe not even this creator. If this creator doesn't see the review, hopefully they will. If they don't see the review, another new creator might see the review and read your comment and go, oh, that's how you would fix that. Because obviously I can't absolutely cover every little niggle and gribble inside the flyover. I could, I guess, but then the show would be super long and super boring. It would, wouldn't it? It would. Some would say it already is. Anyway, so the rails are fine. And I don't think while the highway is just like a coastal route. Oh, hang on. We've got a dimple. Oops. Yeah, while the highway is just the coastal routes, the rail, we got a couple of lines, and it kind of like, it doesn't zigzag, but you're able to use the lines to zigzag your way up and across the map. But there's no stupid junctions. There's nothing that looks completely untenable. True realists will look at this junction coming up and will say, oh, it's too tight. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. We don't care. This is perfectly acceptable for a bit of a wobble before you get to it. Perfectly acceptable for a Cities Skylines map, I feel. Just about. Of course, having a short junction. Having a short junction like that, you kind of want to leave room in those junctions for one full long train. And it's possible that isn't, but there's little best practices and stuff like that you can pick up as you're going along. But we're a long way away from the from the main buildable areas, one would imagine, depending on where you want to build. It's pretty flat. So we're quite a long way away from those sort of areas. So probably doesn't matter quite so much if you get a little bit of train build up there. It's when you're in the middle of the city and you get a train build up, you've got nowhere for the trains to move, then you get gridlock. So that's gridlock. I've been struggling to talk lately. Have you noticed? What do you mean lately? I know. Anyway, we'll take a little. I told you that we can zigzag if we want to. And off through the mountains, which means we'll take a brief intermission. We'll come back after this and we'll check out for the shipping, which is actually okay.
Are you struggling with water physics in the game? Are you constantly drowning and flooding your soggy little sins? Then you need the Beginner's Guide to Water Physics by BonBonB. Click the information button now.
And so back to Auburn Islands by Lord Torchwood or whatever. And the shipping route. Well, shipping route is absolutely fine. This is lovely. Doesn't do anything clever, doesn't do anything stupid, and heads off towards the edge of the map over there. Then we have another shipping route, which is a little bit stupid. It's like a lasso. Okay, I'm sorry to say this, but okay, the loop around the harbour is okay, I guess. And the route it takes with your ship coming out of the harbour, your ship's going out of the harbour, and then for some reason, it does a little scenic trip. I don't understand why. But hey. Water flow in the start square. Well, it's a little bit of a blob here, and then we've got a little river here. The river's fine. It's a bit shallow, a bit weak. Goes out into the bay there. It's, a bit of a shallow, weak waterway there. But if you have a look here, we have got a spawn point right there in the start square. So you can definitely work with that one for pumping and drawing. Shouldn't be a problem. So anyway, the map is quite, even with, okay, we are running with the autumn theme, which probably, if you haven't subscribed to it beforehand, well, you wouldn't load with it. So we have to assume this is going to come up as vanilla, but as we're seeing it here, it's very nice. Liking this idea for the little road coming down to the coast and then giving you access to the islands, because it is Auburn Islands after all. So it's all about the islands. I quite like that, but we've got a large buildable area over here, including these fields. Now, for me, I mean, I kind of like these, but they don't make any sense at all. Why would you clear fields in the middle of the forest? It just, I mean, aesthetically they're okay, and they break things up and they make it a bit more interesting, but they make zero sense to my little head. But they are fertile. They are painted with fertile resource, so there is that. So there is good to come out of that as well. In terms of, okay, foliage is an issue, but what I'm seeing here I quite like. Okay, what I'm seeing, it can be a little bit more finessed, with maybe going for a bit stronger along the coastlines and like fading out and fading in. It's a bit tree spammed, but it still looks good for it. It's got kind of like a magic to it. I think there's some credit for the trees that we've actually got. Remember, there are a whole bunch missing as well, so Lord knows what this looks like with all of the correct trees. And I might get a bit less lag as well, having to subscribe to all those trees we don't really need. Also, if you have a look here, look at the density of trees on the mountain. It's about the same density as down here, which makes me think all the trees were painted and then the mountains were drawn. And to be honest with you, the mountains, well, we'll talk about the shapes of the mountain in a moment, but look at, to me, that mountain is just lacking in clarity. And one of my biggest tricks, and I've done this before, I'm going to do it again right now, I'll do a quick one, is having minimal trees on cliff faces. I'm just going to remove a few. There'll probably still be a few missed, but anyway, doing this, I mean, we don't tend to get big trees on cliff faces. There are exceptions to every rule, but doing something like that, see, I have missed a couple, but the couple that I've missed are sort of believable because they are just the odd one or two. So yeah, for me, I think I prefer that kind of aesthetic. And of course, you can just play with it, you can tweak with it, and certain trees work better in certain locations. So maybe smaller bushes or shrubs clinging onto the sides. In terms of the shapes of the mountains, yeah, this is hard, okay? When you're hand drawing mountains, it's a tough ask, especially if you're not very experienced. Yes, that backdrop, it doesn't really look like a mountainscape at all. And they are very lumpy and very bubbly and very not mountain shaped, I'm afraid. Anyway, in terms of water, we've got a number of little waterways. We've got a few. Again, trees in the water can be believable. This is really struggling. This is actually a live river. And this is really struggling. So yeah, a few trees like with their feet in these little light rivers are believable. This is, see, you can even see this river is flowing there, and yeah, it's missing. So those ones I don't really mind too much. And these wetland areas, again, I don't mind too much, although I think we've got the wrong trees down here. These wouldn't be up to their waists in water. Yes, they are wearing their trunks, I know. These wouldn't be up to the waist. More of a mangrove-style tree or something else. Although we have got usage of the river reeds, that kind of thing. They really do work very nicely. So I think just maybe transitioning to some different trees down there would be more believable. This is the sea. And they've gone for a little paddle in the sea. That I don't buy into at all. 0% at all. Okay. And also this is a vast quantity of trees in deep in a wideish, well, struggling river. So there's good and bad. There's always good and bad. Always something nice to say. Okay. Always something nice to say. Anyway, so I think we should go down to Start Square. I think we should find I'm hungry. An asset of the day. I'm hungry for assets, and I'm hungry for Tony Luke's Cheesesteaks by Gilded Age. Haven't seen Gilded Age for a while, but they are a lovely creator. This is a lovely asset. And I'll talk about factoids, because one of the things on the signs here is about hoagies. So I've heard of hoagies, but I've no idea what a hoagie is. Now, you probably already do, but for myself, I did factoids because hoagie. A hoagie is a submarine sandwich, commonly known as a sub. Ah, now it makes sense. Hero, Italian sandwich, or grinder, apparently. Or a spucky. It's a type of cold or hot sandwich made from a cylindrical bread roll, split lengthwise and filled with meats, cheeses, vegetables, and condiments. It has many different names, just in case you didn't realise. But a grinder. I know there's a few of you going to be chuckling about that one. Anyway, this is a great asset. A very nice asset. I'm sure Tony Luke's is an American brand. It's got to be. Why would you make that up? But yeah, loving the signage. In fact, probably could read the menu if we get in a bit closer. How close can we get? Probably about that close. And sort of, we can read bits of it. But anyway, Tony Luke's Cheesesteaks by Gilded Age. Today's asset of the day. Of course, we're not really supposed to be. You don't really want to be able to read everything, do you? That'd be ridiculous. Just quality like that. I love quality. I love little details. And I love it when you vote on maps. What do you think of today's map? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen, or the link in the description. It will take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Gmail, Apple, or a Patreon account. Well, what do I think of today's map? Well, aesthetically, I think this has got a lot of potential. It's shot itself in the foot with the theme. We should have the autumn theme. We would be imagining this with the... I'm going to have to rate this one as a vanilla theme, because that's what would load. And because of that, instead of giving it a medium-high 3 stars, I've got to go for a medium-low 3 stars. I like the shape of it. Detailing. Lots of good work and lots of clunks as well. And of course, the workshop issue with subscribing to a whole bunch of trees we don't need, I've got to put that under detailing. So I'm going to go for a very low 3 stars. Gameplay feels very playable to me, but again, having to subscribe to a whole bunch of things that you don't need and need but you don't have, That's I was going to push towards 4 stars, but I'm going to go for a high 3. I like it. Auburn Islands by Lord Torchwood, or whatever your name happens to be. I like that whole Eastern Seaboard kind of film. I love the autumn style of maps that we've seen a lot of lately. It's just a lack of experience. A huge lack of experience, one would say. And so that's where the problems there were. Experience comes to practice. Practice comes to making maps. Keep making maps, please. Anyway, if you're still here, you're all going to be part of the 20 Night Elite if you use the words of the day. Off you go. I'll see you very, very soon. Thanks for watching.